My beloved brothers and sisters, there are people in life who smile with you, speak with you, and walk beside you, but slowly, without you realizing it, they begin to drain your peace, weaken your confidence, and disturb your heart. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay in it. Some people are blessings, but some people are tests. And one of the greatest forms of wisdom in life is learning to recognize which people bring goodness into your life and which ones quietly bring harm. Islam teaches us to be kind, patient, and forgiving. But it also teaches us to protect our hearts, our dignity, and most importantly, our faith. Because sometimes the biggest threat to your peace is not the problems you face, it is the people you allow too close to your life. Today we will reflect on 5 toxic personalities you must be careful of. Personalities that can slowly damage your peace, your mindset, and even your relationship with Allah if you are not careful. 1. The constant negative person. My brothers and sisters, the first toxic personality that we must be very careful of is the person who spreads negativity wherever they go. You may have met people like this in your life. No matter what situation they are in, they always manage to focus on the worst part of it. Even when something good happens, they immediately find a reason to criticize it or complain about it. Their conversations are filled with discouragement, doubt, and pessimism. When you share something positive with them, instead of celebrating with you, they respond with negativity. If you tell them about a dream or a goal you are working toward, they begin to question it. They may say things like, "It will never work, it is too difficult," or "People like you cannot achieve something like that." At first, you might ignore these words, but when you hear this type of negativity repeatedly, it slowly begins to affect your thinking. The human heart is very sensitive to the environment around it. When you constantly hear words of doubt and hopelessness, those words begin to plant seeds inside your mind. Slowly you begin to doubt your own abilities. Slowly your confidence starts to weaken. The motivation that once pushed you forward starts to disappear. What began as someone else's negativity slowly becomes your own negative mindset. This is why the company you keep is extremely important. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam beautifully explained the impact of companionship. He said that good company is like the company of a perfume seller. Even if you do not purchase anything from the seller, you will still leave with a pleasant fragrance. In other words, being around good people naturally benefits you. Their positivity, their faith, their encouragement, and their good character leave an impression on your heart. But negative people have the opposite effect. When you sit with them for long periods of time, their mindset begins to drain your energy. Their constant complaints make life feel heavier than it actually is. Their pessimism makes you forget the blessings Allah has given you. Instead of feeling hopeful and motivated, you start feeling tired, discouraged, and emotionally exhausted. Sometimes these people are not intentionally trying to harm you. They may simply be stuck in a negative way of thinking. However, regardless of their intentions, their presence can still affect your mental and emotional well-being. If you allow this kind of influence to stay too close to your heart, it can slowly steal your peace and weaken your spirit. This does not mean that we must treat people with harshness or disrespect. Islam teaches us to be kind and compassionate with everyone. But kindness does not mean allowing someone's negativity to dominate your mind and heart. Wisdom means recognizing when a relationship is affecting your peace and learning to create healthy boundaries. Surround yourself with people who remind you of hope, who encourage you to grow, and who help you remember the blessings of Allah. Choose companions whose words strengthen your faith and lift your spirit rather than those who constantly bring you down. When you protect your environment, you also protect your heart, your mindset, and your ability to move forward in life with confidence and trust in Allah. 2. The person who constantly disrespects you. My brothers and sisters, the second toxic personality we must be very careful about is the person who constantly disrespects you. Respect is one of the most important foundations of any healthy relationship. Without respect, even the strongest connection slowly begins to weaken. A person who truly values you will speak to you with kindness, treat you with dignity, and consider your feelings before their words leave their mouth. However, there are people who repeatedly cross this boundary. They make hurtful jokes at your expense. They belittle your efforts and your achievements. They mock your ideas, your goals, and sometimes even your character. At times, they may embarrass you in front of others or speak to you in a way that makes you feel small and unimportant. When this happens once or twice, a person might overlook it, thinking it was just a mistake. But when this behavior becomes constant, it reveals something deeper. Very often, when you express that their words hurt you, they quickly dismiss your feelings. They may say you are too sensitive or that you are overreacting. They claim they were only joking and that you should learn to take things lightly. But my brothers and sisters, constant humiliation disguised as humor is not kindness. It is a form of disrespect that slowly damages a person's confidence and peace of mind. Islam teaches us that every human being has dignity. Allah has honored the children of Adam and given every person a level of respect that should never be ignored or taken lightly. When someone repeatedly humiliates or disrespects another person, they are forgetting this divine dignity that Allah has given to every human being. A believer is expected to speak with wisdom, kindness, and care, because words have the power to heal hearts or break them. Over time, constant disrespect can have a very harmful effect on the heart. A person who is repeatedly belittled may begin to question their own worth. They may begin to believe the negative things that are said about them. Their self-confidence slowly weakens, and they may start doubting their own abilities and value. What began as careless words slowly becomes emotional harm. This is why it is important to recognize this type of toxic behavior early. Being patient and forgiving is a beautiful quality, and Islam encourages us to forgive others whenever possible. However, forgiveness does not mean allowing someone to repeatedly hurt your dignity. Protecting your self-respect is not arrogance. It is a form of self-awareness and wisdom. Sometimes the healthiest response is not anger or confrontation, but creating a healthy distance. When someone repeatedly shows that they do not respect you, reducing their influence in your life can protect your peace. You can still remain polite and respectful without allowing their behavior to continue affecting your heart. Surround yourself with people who speak to you with kindness, who uplift you with their words, and who respect the dignity that Allah has placed within you. The right people will make you feel valued, supported, and appreciated. And when you are surrounded by respectful and sincere individuals, your heart becomes stronger, your confidence grows, and your life becomes filled with a much deeper sense of peace. 3. The jealous person. My brothers and sisters, the third toxic personality we must be very careful of is the jealous person. Jealousy is one of the most dangerous diseases of the heart because it quietly damages relationships while hiding behind a smile. A jealous person may appear friendly on the surface, but deep inside they struggle whenever they see someone else receiving blessings. When Allah gives you success, they feel uncomfortable. When you achieve something in life, they begin to compare themselves with you. Instead of feeling happy for you, their heart becomes heavy. Sometimes they may not openly show their jealousy, but their behavior slowly begins to change. For example, when you share good news with them, their response may feel cold or distant. They may try to minimize your achievement by saying it was easy or that anyone could have done it. Sometimes they may even try to shift the conversation away from your success because they find it difficult to celebrate it. In more serious situations, jealousy can push people toward harmful actions. A jealous person may begin to speak negatively about you behind your back. They may spread rumors, criticize your character, or try to damage your reputation. Their goal becomes reducing the respect and admiration that others have for you. My brothers and sisters, jealousy is not just harmful to others, it is also extremely destructive for the person who carries it in their heart. A jealous person lives with constant dissatisfaction. Instead of being grateful for the blessings Allah has given them, they remain focused on what others have. Their heart becomes filled with resentment and frustration, and this prevents them from experiencing true peace. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ warned us about the danger of jealousy. He taught that envy consumes good deeds just as fire burns wood. This powerful teaching reminds us that jealousy not only damages relationships in this world, but can also harm a person's spiritual state. A healthy and sincere heart behaves very differently. When a person with a pure heart sees someone else succeed, they feel genuinely happy for them. They make dua for their continued success and thank Allah for the blessings that exist in the world. Instead of competing with others, they focus on improving themselves and strengthening their own relationship with Allah. Unfortunately, not everyone has reached this level of spiritual maturity. Some people allow jealousy to grow inside their hearts until it becomes a constant source of negativity. Being around such individuals can be emotionally exhausting. You may begin to feel uncomfortable sharing your achievements or your happiness because you sense their negative reactions. For this reason, it is important to be wise about who you trust with your personal successes and blessings. Not everyone deserves to know every detail of your life. Protecting your happiness from jealous hearts is sometimes necessary for maintaining your peace. At the same time, Islam teaches us to purify our own hearts from jealousy as well. When we see someone else receiving blessings, we should remind ourselves that Allah distributes His favors with perfect wisdom. The success of another person does not reduce the opportunities that Allah can give to us. Surround yourself with people who celebrate your progress and encourage your growth. Choose companions who sincerely support you and feel joy when you succeed. These types of relationships create an environment of positivity, gratitude, and mutual respect. When your circle is filled with sincere and supportive individuals, your heart feels lighter, your motivation grows stronger, and your life becomes filled with a sense of harmony and peace that jealousy can never provide. 4. The person who uses you, my brothers and sisters, the fourth toxic personality that we must be careful about is the person who only comes to you when they need something from you. This type of person treats relationships as if they are transactions. They appear friendly and caring when they want help, support, or a favor. But when you are the one in need, they are suddenly nowhere to be found. You may notice that they contact you only when they require something. They remember you when they need advice, money, time, or assistance with their problems. At that moment, they speak kindly, they show interest in your life, and they act as if the relationship is very important to them. But once their need is fulfilled, their attention slowly disappears. When you try to reach out to them during your difficult moments, they become distant. They may ignore your messages, delay responding, or suddenly become too busy. In those moments, you realize that the relationship was never balanced. It was never built on genuine care or mutual support. Instead, it was built on what they could gain from you. This type of behavior can slowly drain a person's emotional and mental energy. When someone constantly takes from you without giving anything back, it creates an imbalance that eventually leads to exhaustion. You may begin to feel unappreciated, taken for granted, and emotionally tired because your kindness is being used rather than valued. Islam encourages generosity and helping others. Helping people in times of need is a beautiful act that brings great reward from Allah. However, generosity should never mean allowing yourself to be repeatedly exploited. There is a difference between helping someone sincerely and allowing someone to constantly use your kindness for their own benefit. A healthy relationship is built on sincerity, respect, and balance. Both people care about each other. Both people support one another during difficult moments. When one person is struggling, the other stands beside them with encouragement and help. This mutual support creates trust and strengthens the bond between individuals. But a person who only uses you does not see the relationship in this way. Their focus remains on their own needs. They may become very skilled at manipulating your kindness. They may make you feel guilty if you refuse to help them. They may remind you of past favors you have done together in order to pressure you into helping again. Over time, if this pattern continues, it can slowly damage your sense of peace and self-worth. You may begin to feel that your value in the relationship exists only when you are providing something. This is not a healthy or sincere connection. Recognizing this pattern requires honesty with yourself. Sometimes we continue giving because we hope that the person will eventually change or begin to appreciate us more. But if the pattern continues repeatedly without any effort from the other person to support you in return, it may be necessary to create boundaries. Setting boundaries does not mean becoming harsh or selfish. It simply means protecting your energy and your emotional well-being. You can still be kind, respectful, and helpful without allowing someone to constantly take advantage of you. Islam teaches balance in all aspects of life. Being generous and helpful is a noble quality, but wisdom requires understanding where your help is truly valued and where it is being misused. When you surround yourself with people who sincerely care about you, the relationship feels balanced and peaceful. Choose companions who appreciate your presence, not just your assistance. Choose people who support you during your struggles, just as you support them during theirs. These are the relationships that bring true comfort to the heart. When kindness is shared with sincerity on both sides, it strengthens hearts and builds meaningful connections. But when kindness is constantly taken without appreciation, it slowly becomes a burden. Protecting yourself from this kind of toxic behavior allows you to preserve your peace while continuing to help others in a healthy and sincere way. 5. The person who distances you from Allah. My brothers and sisters, the fifth and most dangerous toxic personality is the person who slowly distances you from Allah. Among all the harmful influences a person can experience, this one is the most serious because it does not only affect your worldly peace, it also affects your relationship with your Creator and your eternal life. There are people who, through their behavior and influence, begin to weaken your connection with Allah without you even realizing it at first. Their presence may seem normal in the beginning, but slowly they begin encouraging actions that pull you away from your faith. They may mock religious values or make light of things that should be respected. They may joke about prayer, criticize those who try to practice their faith sincerely, or make you feel embarrassed for trying to improve your relationship with Allah. Sometimes they present sinful actions as something normal or even entertaining, making it seem harmless. At first, a person may resist these influences, but the human heart is very sensitive to its environment. When someone is surrounded by people who constantly normalize wrong behavior, it slowly begins to feel less serious. What once felt uncomfortable starts to feel ordinary. What once felt wrong slowly becomes easier to accept. This is how negative influence quietly works. Your prayers may slowly become delayed. Your focus during worship may weaken. The motivation to read the Quran or remember Allah may become less frequent. The heart that once felt peace through worship begins to feel distant and distracted. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that a person is greatly influenced by the company they keep. When someone spends a lot of time around certain people, their habits, attitudes, and priorities begin to shape the person's own behavior. This is why choosing the right companions is extremely important. A good companion reminds you of Allah when you forget. A good companion encourages you to pray when you feel lazy. A good companion inspires you to improve your character and grow closer to your faith. But a toxic companion does the opposite. They may discourage you from attending religious gatherings. They may pressure you into situations where you feel uncomfortable with your own values. They may constantly invite you toward activities that weaken your spiritual discipline. Over time, this influence can slowly pull a person further away from their connection with Allah. The heart begins to lose its sensitivity toward right and wrong, and the spiritual peace that comes from worship becomes harder to feel. My brothers and sisters, protecting your relationship with Allah is one of the most important responsibilities in life. Your faith is your greatest treasure. It is the light that guides you through difficulties and gives meaning to your existence. If someone's presence consistently pulls you away from that light, then their influence becomes harmful to your soul. This does not mean that we treat people with hatred or arrogance. Islam teaches us to remain respectful and compassionate toward others. But wisdom requires recognizing when someone's influence is harming your spiritual well-being. Sometimes the best way to protect your faith is by creating distance from environments and relationships that weaken it. When you choose companions who respect your faith and encourage you to grow spiritually, your heart becomes stronger. Good friends remind you of your purpose. They remind you of prayer when life becomes busy. They remind you of patience during hardship and gratitude during blessings. Their presence helps you feel closer to Allah rather than further away. The right companionship can transform a person's life. It can strengthen faith, build character, and bring peace to the heart. Choose people who support your journey toward goodness. Choose companions who encourage sincerity, humility, and remembrance of Allah. When your environment is filled with people who value faith and righteousness, your heart remains connected to the source of true peace. And when your heart stays connected to Allah, no toxic influence in this world can truly disturb the tranquility that He places within it. My dear brothers and sisters, life is too short to spend it surrounded by people who constantly disturb your peace and weaken your heart. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to walk with you forever. Some people come into your life as blessings, some come as lessons, and some come as tests that teach you the value of protecting your peace. Always remember that Islam teaches balance. We are taught to forgive, to be kind, and to show patience with others. But we are also taught to be wise about the company we keep. The people around you shape your thoughts, influence your decisions, and affect the condition of your heart. If someone constantly fills your life with negativity, disrespect, jealousy, selfishness, or pulls you away from Allah, then it is a sign that you must be careful with how much space they occupy in your life. Protecting your peace is not selfishness. Protecting your faith is not arrogance, it is wisdom. Surround yourself with people who remind you of Allah, people who encourage you when you feel weak, people who celebrate your success, and people who sincerely want to see you grow. The right company strengthens your faith, uplifts your heart, and fills your life with a sense of peace that cannot be replaced. And most importantly, never forget that your strongest support is always Allah. When your heart stays connected to Him, no toxic influence can truly break your spirit. May Allah surround us with sincere companions, protect our hearts from harmful influences, and guide us toward people who bring goodness, peace, and faith into our lives. Amen.